Hi class, I'm making this video after grading some of your outlines for this last speech where you introduce your classmate. And I wanted to go over a few things that I keep seeing in your outlines and in your speeches. These things are going to be your indentations, your thesis, and your transitions. The first thing I want you to go over is in Module 1. I believe this is Module 1. Yes, in Module 1, go to Outlining Basics, and you will see some handouts and a video on how to outline your speech. This is very important because this video in particular gives you details on how to do step by step, and it also gives you an example of how to write your speech and the importance of indenting your points. Indenting your points is very important because if you don't indent your points, then you're just going to turn in something that looks like this paragraph without any real organization. Also, indenting your points will make it easier for you to write your note cards, because you can have note cards with your subpoints, or you can have note cards with your supporting points. And you can color code them, and you can just make it so easy for you to focus on your organization and not get lost. So the page Outlining Basics has, of course, the sample outline that most of you have been using, and it's already indented for you. And also, if you go to the example outline for the introductory speech, it has, not only does it have the outline of someone's speech, but it gives you an explanation of what the sentence in bold is there for. So, for example, a lot of you are missing your thesis in your outlines, and that is one of the most important parts of your speech. And here they explain why it's so important, and they give you an example about it, about how to do it. Okay, but let's go to one of my students from another semester to see how they did it without using the sample outline that I gave you. I also gave them, but they decided to do it on their own. And see how they outline. They use Roman numerals, and then they use capital letters, and then they use numbers for the subpoints. It's very organized. It looks very nice. They didn't really do a good job with the title, but everything else they use bold only for the main parts of the speech: introduction, body, transitions, and the conclusion. Okay, and the rest is just in regular font. This makes it very easy for me to see that this student has a lot of organization. It makes me easy. It's very easy to follow when they're giving the speech. I can just go directly to where they're speaking, and even if they don't go exactly by the outline, which I don't expect you to do, I can more or less see if they're sticking to the outline. Now, indentation is important, but the most important part is the preview, or the thesis statement. The thesis statement tells your audience what your speech will be about. So I don't know if you've ever sat through a speech and they never told you what they were going to discuss, and you never know when it's going to end because you don't know what's on the agenda. So somebody can start speaking, and if there is no preview to what they will be talking about, you will not know when they're going to finish. So the preview is very important. So here's an example of a preview, and I'm going to read it. So, while some people may say that a person cannot make a person happy because the best things in life cannot be bought, that's reason one, I would say otherwise because money can help with self-motivation, lack of stress, and making others happy. So there are your three reasons: self-motivation, lack of stress, and making others happy. So this student has told me the three things that they are going to talk about. Then they transition. To start off, those who oppose this question make some valid points. Okay, this person's using a counter argument, which is what the opposing view says, and then she goes back to her points. However, though money cannot buy you love, doesn't necessarily mean that it can't bring you the other greater things in life. And then she starts with her sub-points. Here's another example of a very good persuasive speech, again with no title. But she has that great organization with the indentation and the bold letters. She uses the excellent transitions. First, the problem is that, now let's look at the reasons why Latinos don't vote. And she has her transitions in bold, and then this is the most important part, she has a thesis. So the Latino population voting rate is low due to a number of factors. And despite the belief that voting doesn't actually matter, by informing ourselves, we can make our vote count. So she did a thesis in which she doesn't mention them in a list, like I'm going to talk about this, this, and that. She used it in a sentence, which is really creative. But you can tell that she's going to talk about these three things: how the voting rate is low due to a number of factors, that voting actually does matter, and that by informing ourselves, we can make our vote count. And when we go on to the speech, we can see that that's exactly what she meant to do. The first topic is the Latino population rate is low. Here it is, right here. Again, the Latino population vote is low. Her second point, which is, see, capital A, now let's go to capital B. A number of factors are to blame. Again, we have it here. It's low due to a number of factors. Let's go to capital C. Some people believe voting doesn't matter. Let's see if she included that in her thesis. And despite the belief that voting doesn't actually matter, see, it's there. And now let's go to D. Informing ourselves is a good way to start. Let's see if she has that in her thesis. By informing ourselves, we can make our vote count. So in this sentence, she told me what the entire speech was going to be about. And therefore, when I know that she's talking about this part, I know that her speech is going to end, because that's the order that she's taken it. She's going by her thesis. Okay, so what does a thesis sound like when you're actually giving a speech? Well, let's listen to an example here. Okay, so I'm going to stop it right when they say the thesis. So you're going to hear their attention getter, and then you're going to hear the thesis. When I stop it, that's when I want you to focus on what they said. Okay?
We all know the feeling. We're staring at the cursor, blinking away on a blank Word document, desperately wishing we were somewhere else. But no, till that word count hits 3,000, I'm staying put. But wait, you just need to go grab a drink first. Before you know it, that drink has turned into a Lord of the Rings marathon, and that word count still remains at 0. Now, does this sound familiar to anyone? Yes, I'm talking about a college student's worst enemy, procrastination. Today I want to discuss 3 main points about procrastination. Number 1, what is procrastination? Number 2, what causes procrastination? And number 3, how does procrastination affect us?
And there you have it. He did an amazing attention getter, and then this is his thesis. These are the 3 things that he's going to focus on. The next thing he's going to do is transition and begin by saying something like, first let's discuss what is procrastination, right? Now, let's go to another example. And again, I'm going to stop it. After the attention getter, he's going to go into his thesis, and that's where I'm going to stop it.
Years ago, these 10 words. These 10 words started a cinematic phenomenon that spread its fingers so deeply into American culture that our car companies are dressing up little children as Darth Vader, and our post offices are dressing up mailboxes as R2-D2. Thank you. Now, how is it that a movie made 34 years ago can still affect us this deeply today, especially one that was set a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away? And I believe by the end of tonight I will make you believe that it's because of the mythological, historical, and religious symbolism that is littered throughout Star Wars.
So there you go, mythological, historical, and I think he said religious.
The mythological, historical, and religious symbolism.
So again, clearly he has stated what he is there for and what he is going to speak about. So this is what I want you to do from now on. You have to have a thesis, not only in your outline, but when you speak, you have to tell your audience what to expect. And I think that's all I wanted to go over right now, because as I'm grading, I keep saying the same thing that a lot of you are not putting in the thesis. Alrighty, thank you for listening, and I'll make more of these videos.